You guys ready? You guys ready for another video? You guys look ready. Alright guys, do I have a fun video for you today? So as many of you know, I buy and sell a lot of Corvettes, and I also part out a lot of Corvettes. I have the reputation of being willing, price according, to buy the worst Corvettes that exist, and this is one of them. But I want to show it to you guys as kind of like a warning of when you buy sight unseen, people's opinions of rusty are a little different than other people's opinions. So again, disclaimer, I bought this car, I knew it was rusty, I'm not worried about it, I'm fine with it. But for someone who doesn't know, this car could have been a problem. We'll take a look at the car from the outside, you know, give it a good 10 foot view. It looks like a really nice car. I mean, other than, you know, it needs paint. It's complete, it's pretty much all there. You could look at this car and you could say, that would make a good project. Now, in the comments, I want you guys who have bought Corvettes in the past, I want you guys to comment and tell me how many of you guys did not look underneath the car when you bought it. I've had people tell me, oh, I didn't look underneath it. I got so excited to buy a Corvette, and I bought it, and it's here, and I got what I got. Well, hopefully your car didn't turn out like this. So this car is from Florida. Usually Florida cars rust from the top down, so they get lots of rain and that kind of thing. And on this one, it's not too bad. I know it's really hard to record stuff like this in a camera. It's easier to see it in person. But the first thing everybody wants to look at is the bird cage, and you can see on this one, if you look here, there's your first sign of trouble right there. So again, if you had bought this sight unseen with maybe a dishonest seller, you wouldn't know about any of this stuff. Now, there are a few clues that you could see probably from pictures. Is, you know, the floor of this car is rusty. Now, that's not really a deal breaker, because rusty floors just could mean leaking tops. You know, that's actually fixable, and hilariously enough, this car actually has a bunch of it has 2 replacement floor pans inside of it. Again, windshield frames can be fixed and floors can be fixed, but before I take you guys to the frame, I'm gonna let's take all this trim off and see what we really have to work with. All right, hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. I don't think there's anything for these screws to hold into. Of course, can't get to that. I think the only one that's holding on to anything is this bottom one. The top one's completely gone. Oh. That's not a good sign. There's a bunch of rust on this screw. Crumblies. This part is actually a good part. This whole other top piece isn't held on by anything other than this one screw in the corner. We'll get that off. Well, it's a shame about this broken part, because that piece could have been a good piece, but it's broken. But this was all the stuff that was inside of that piece. You see all this rusty stuff? Alright, we got that piece off. That's a good piece. Anybody need some oyster colored A-pillar covers? Alright, here's a moment of truth. So funny thing, this pillar is actually not too bad. With the trim on, you wouldn't even be able to tell. When you come up here and you look, all that's pretty bad. I don't know how well this is gonna show on camera because obviously we're looking up toward the sky, but it's all gone. It's all gone. And literally nothing left. Which honestly, for a Florida car, that's kind of to be expected. But check this out, I've never had a car that does this. So when I lift up the door, watch the pillar. See it move? I've never had a car that bad. For a windshield at least. So that's the windshield frame. That's one of the many things that you look for rust. And funny enough, like looking through at the VIN and everything, like you can't really tell that it's rusty. It's mostly just this upper header right here. And I bet that this underneath this piece there's some more rust up there. But that's like common Florida stuff. Under the hood, I mean, obviously there's a lot of, you know, oxidation, rusting, and pitting on, you know, various parts. But again, Florida's kind of humid. That's kind of to be expected. There's really nothing here that really shows any type of clue on how bad this car really is. Now, a couple small clues would be this filler right here for the bird cages coming apart. You see a few little rust blisters. Again, really normal stuff. Even a non-rusty car would have those. And then also you can kind of see down in here the radiator support. It's completely shot, but again, very common. I've had rust-free beautiful cars have that kind of support. That's just the way they're made. Now if you watch the channel for a while, you notice I have a lift. I actually have two lifts, and usually a car like this I would put up on the lift and be like, wow, look how crappy this car is. It's so rusty, I won't put this one on my lift. It's that bad. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna chuck the tires, I'm gonna lift up the back with the jack, and then I'm gonna risk my life for you guys to show you how bad this car really is. All right, we're gonna start on the good end. So spare tire tub is missing. This exhaust is actually there front to back on this car, which is hilarious and amazing. They have like a side X pipe on it. Anyway, so there's a couple telltale signs this car is a rusty crusty just based off of the rear frame. And funny enough, the rear frame is actually high enough that it doesn't usually rust. You notice there's only one bolt holding the leaf spring onto the differential, so that's good. And any of these suspension pieces are going to be worth much just because they're so crusty. But there is some here on this other side, kind of the same story, but where it gets crazy is here, right in front of the rear tires. Again, let me remind you, this car, from pictures, from even looking at it, walking around it, if you didn't look underneath it, you'd never know. I guess if you drove it, you might know. But clues start when you go down the frame, you go to about here. Here's another view of that rear body mount. It literally is, it's not attached anymore. The mount is gone. So is the bolt. I mean, anyway, so we go under here, and you guys have seen what a frame looks like. Take a look at this one. I'm hoping that shows up. I can't tell if the camera's showing it very well, but the entirety of the frame rail is completely gone from basically where the power steering rod hits the frame all the way down. It's literally just a gaping hole. I couldn't put this on my lift if I wanted to. There's not any place to support it, because this is where the lift arms would usually go, and there's nothing here. Completely gone. And this rocker kind of hides how bad it is. I might take it off and, if I can, get a better look. Alright, I can't get that rocker panel off. Of course it's going to be super rusted, but surprisingly enough, like, this door isn't that bad. Like, usually the doors are totally rotten. I mean, it's a little bit, but totally rotten. These corners, they rot under the weather strip, they're rotten in front, and then they love to rot right here. I mean, there's a little tiny bit of a hole right there, but not much. So the doors aren't bad, which really surprises me considering the condition of the rest of the car. All right, here we are on the other side. Let's see how bad this side is. Now the rear body mount is a little bit better, but as we get going down, there's a little more metal on this side. Let's see. Well, this side is better. Now again, there's still a giant hole where the frame should be, but there's actually more frame than the other side. But again, it's probably super soft, it's probably totally full of scale and just completely gone. The floor on this side's about the same. It's about as crappy. This is hilarious. Like, they were gonna, you know, make that work. Like, look at the lines up here. I can move them. There's no way. Now here in the front, we can get underneath the car, see what the front cross member looks like. I mean, I've seen worse. I mean, everything's just a little crusty, but nothing beats that driver's side frame rail across that other side. Again, I'll say it. I bought the car cheap. I know what I was buying. Nobody screwed anybody over. I'll make money on it. It was cheap enough. But this is a car that I don't feel bad about parting out at all, just because you can't fix that. I mean, there's really no reason to fix a car that rusty. I mean, between the birdcage and the floor and the frame and all the suspension, there's really, you know, you'd have to place all of that. And, you know, for a 1980, go buy yourself one for $10,000, you know? They made so many of them, they're easy to find. But between the bumpers, the body panels, miscellaneous interior parts, I'll make money on it. I'm not worried about it, but this is the kind of car that you want to make sure you do not buy when you buy your first C3 Corvette. But the wildest thing besides the rust in this car is this car actually runs. It actually runs pretty good. So we're gonna use carb cleaner as fuel. See how much we can actually fill it. Alright, it's now dripping out the bottom, so let's see what happens. All we need to do is just make it to the end. That's all. So there's a belt on the balancer making that noise. Let's drive, old Rusty Crusty. Let's do it. You guys ready? Yeah, there we go. All right, round 2 for Rusty Krusty. No. Actually has somewhat of a brake pedal. That's hilarious. I don't know if I can get out. That's pretty good for a car cleaner and just down the pipe. That's not too bad. The transmission seems like it was puking, or at least it was going in and out of being able to grab. I don't know if one of these can. Oh, yeah, it's transmission lighting. But hey, the engine sounds really good. It's got leaky headers and a broken belt, but eventually it's gonna die. It wants to live. It wants to live. And that's it. Alright, the only other time it'll run is to go down there to get taken apart. So there you go, guys. Not bad for old Rusty Krusty's last hurrah. But I need to take that battery out, move on to the next one.